because I was interested in biomedical engineering as a high school student, but I didn't know like limited scope of understanding what to do and how to do it. You did your biomedical engineering. How did you turn it into AI? That's quite interesting.
Biomedical engineering, at least at Rutgers University, where I did my bachelor's, master's, and PhD, you choose a track. You can do very wet lab imaging where you're dealing with cells. You can do sort of like biomechanics where you're making prosthetic limbs, stuff like that, or you could do imaging. Biomedical imaging was one of the tracks. And so this was back, I started this in 2006 when I entered undergrad as 2005. And in 2006, I started the biomedical engineering imaging track. And to me, when I was, 19 years old, someone was like, hey, these images are just numbers on a screen, and there's patterns in these images that you can find cancer. And to me, I was extremely enamored by that. And I'm like, oh, well, that's cool. I've always been good at computers, good at computer programming. And it's kind of like, it gives me a way to use my skills to help patients, not just sit in the lab or sit in the basement and write code.
Very impressive, man. Like I say, I'm gonna tip my hat to you because it's like I think there's a generational issue. I got out of my undergraduate in '85, and it was like computers were not. They're still evolving, and we're making the synapses connect, right? And it's like you're like what? You're 24 years younger than me. You have a leverage of being engaged with the technology in a way that I'm an old guy, right?
It's an interesting thing to say, though, because I'm starting to feel a little different about AI these days with the young 20s people who are fresh out of college, because what I learned about AI back then was like support vector machines and a bunch of stuff that are still sort of used today. But in 2012, deep learning sort of took over the world. And a lot of the young people who do AI, they know that from scratch. And so I'm sort of also playing catch up a little bit with what the young people know. So it flows downstream.